Bring this meeting to order. The Stuart City Council tentative agenda, Monday, June 12th, 2023, 6 p.m. Council chambers. Call to order. Morgan. Here. Cobal. Here. Renslow.
Here.
Dolly. Here. Kirkpatrick. Here. Number 2, agenda approval. And number 3, consent agenda. A, approval of minutes of 5/8/2023 and special meeting 5/22/2023. B, approval of financial statement as of 5/31/2023. C, approval of bills as presented. D, approval of liquor licenses, Johnny's, Ruby's Pub and Grill, outdoor for today place.
So moved.
Moved by Renslow, second by Morgan. How do you vote? Morgan?
Yes.
Cobal?
Yes.
Renslow?
Yes.
Dolly? Yes. Myself, yes. Number 4, water system improvement projects. Public hearing.
Open the public hearing?
We open up the public hearing.
Did you receive anything, Ash?
No.
Any comments, concerns from general public?
Is this about, that include the water tower?
Yeah.
I don't know, I guess I just been hearing some people wanting to paint like a wildcat on it or something like that. Didn't know if that was something, if they wanted to fundraise for that, it's something that you guys would consider, so.
Yeah, the hearing for the grant that we received.
I know,
See what I mean? But your concern is highly appreciated. We can discuss it with the utility board and see what they say about it. Okay?
thank you.
Any other comment on? No, we'll close the
We'll
vote.
close the public hearing.
Yep.
Ash, did you receive anything?
Nope, I didn't. Close the vote. That's all.
Okay. Number 5.
Jim's not here, so let's hold, let's wait on it, and when he shows up, we'll go ahead. Let's see.
6.
Oh,
Board, do we need council approval?
You got a vote on that, Ash? We didn't vote.
After the public hearing, do we need to vote on that? It says,
No, just what we are helping the hearing.
Public hearing, we don't let
No. This is a distribution of the grant, and that's utility grant, actually, not the city grant. We receive it because we applied for the grant under the city.
right, I just saw it says council approval.
Yeah, that's okay. Okay, so we'll go to number 6.
Number 6. Urban renewal plan amendment. So those will be,
Open the public hearing
You have
on
to open
6
the
A.
public hearing.
okay. Open the public hearing on proposed amendment to the Stuart urban renewal area.
Did you receive anything, Ash?
I did not. Any comment, any concern from the public? No. We'll close the public hearing.
Okay, public hearing will be closed.
Here, go to 6B.
Okay, 6B, resolution number 23-16C, resolution to declare necessity and establish an urban renewal area pursuant to section 403.4 of the Code of Iowa and approve urban renewal plan amendment for the Stuart urban renewal area.
The motion.
I'll move that.
I'll second it.
Moved by Cobal, second by Renslow. How do you vote? Cobal?
Yes.
Morgan?
Yes.
Renslow?
Yes.
Dolly?
Yes.
And myself, yes. Okay.
C.
6C, ordinance number 23-03C, an ordinance of providing for division of taxes levied on taxable property in the June 2023 addition to the Stuart urban renewal area pursuant to section 403.19 of the Code of Iowa.
I'll move it.
Moved by Cobal, second by Morgan. How do you vote? Morgan?
Yes.
Cobal?
Yes.
Renslow?
Yes.
Dolly?
Yes.
And myself, Kirkpatrick, yes.
We have the option
Second reading.
to waive the second reading.
I'll move that.
Moved by Caldwell,
Second.
second by Renslow.
How do you vote? Morgan?
Yes.
Cobal?
Yes.
Renzo?
Yes.
Dolly?
Yes.
Kirkpatrick? Yes.
We have the option to move.
Move the third.
Yes,
I'll move it.
moved by
I'll second
Caldwell,
it.
seconded by Dolly.
How do you vote? Morgan?
Yes.
Cobble,
Yes.
Renzo,
Yes.
Dolly,
Yes.
and myself, Kirkpatrick, yes.
7,
7, resolution number 23-17C, resolution authorizing internal advance for funding of urban renewal project.
that's money we give to the main mystery. We have to do something called internal advance.
Hmm.
Just for marketing. Need a motion moved by Calva,
I'll make the motion.
second by Dolly.
Sure.
How do you vote? Morgan,
Yes.
Cobble,
Yes.
Renzo,
Yes.
Dolly,
Yes.
and myself, Kirkpatrick, yes. Number 8, resolution number 23-15C, resolution providing for the approval of a note purchase agreement and for the assurance of annual appropriation, general obligation, corporate purpose loan agreement anticipation project note series 2023A.
Chip is
You're
here.
gonna talk on this, Chip?
Talk about it.
Sure. So there were a couple of items emailed last week and they're speaks tonight. There's a bond sale summary document that summarizes the bond sale and the process that we went through. There's a project funding you've seen a version, a nearly identical version of this before. This single sheet that's right behind the bond sale summary page really provides this kind of becomes your budget for the project as you move forward during the construction process. This was contemplated to include the change order that's later on your agenda, so that's been accounted for and included. And it also includes what you might call more typical contingency in row 7. That contingency is roughly 6.93% as noted at the right of the page. Just a couple of highlights from we held preliminary order period on Thursday of last week where we gathered bond investor interest in the city's financing. So we got orders from 14 bond investors, including one municipal bond mutual fund. The total orders were about $8.5 million. So obviously you wanted to cover the $8.3 million par amount. So that's an excellent piece of news. The average interest rate is 4.75%. That'll be locked in with your proposed action tonight. We showed the bonds to both First State Bank and Rolling Hills Bank and Trust. They didn't have an appetite for it, but there were 13 other community banks that did. The other item to point out, so the action in front of you tonight is the last council action, at least on the financing aspect of the project. So it funds not only housing phase 4 infrastructure, it funds the sports complex and park improvements, and it funds the TID and land purchase. So all of those are covered on that single page kind of Excel document that was right here, an email last week. So I'm happy to answer any questions you might have on that.
So what happens if we don't approve the later item?
If you don't approve the later item, you'll have proceeds remaining from this financing that can be used to pay itself off. That ties more to the benefit of the short-term project note financing. So you'll be able to pay this debt off in 2025, 2026, whenever the city decides to, from proceeds of the financing itself.
So we can approve this the way it is. And it's not gonna affect what we do later on.
It will not,
Okay.
but the item later on is taken into account or funded.
Okay.
So just for your reference, it's taken into consideration.
Any more questions for Chip on that?
We need a motion, item number 8.
Moved by Morgan, second by Cobble. How do you vote? Morgan,
Yes.
Cobble,
Yes.
Renzo,
Yes.
Dolly,
Yes.
Kirkpatrick, yes.
Let's go back to
Okay, thank you.
5.
Okay, we'll go back to 5 since Mr. Henderson is here. Public Works / Emergency Service.
Are we starting with A?
Yeah, we'll start with a ash tree removal update, estimated cost. Oh,
I just got a message that said that your phones were gonna go.
Okay, they included a list in your packet of the trees we have left, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Did they also give you a list of the trees that were done?
Yes.
Okay, that list
Wait.
also,
Hold on, which,
Yes, these were, first page was removed.
so these are removed.
The very back pages.
All right, hold
Kids.
on. Good?
that list should also reflect, there was 33 additional trees at the sports complex for a total of 61 trees that were removed over there. Somehow the first ones got omitted. Anyway, I went to an outside contractor to get an estimate of what it would cost to remove the remainder of the ash trees as you requested at the last meeting. That figure, it's a rough figure, but that figure is between $60,000 and $70,000 to remove what's left. That is removal of the tree only.
And hauled to the.
Yeah, cleaned up, hauled off and everything, but that is just the tree, that is not any
Just like we
stumps.
do with every other one that you guys have to take.
Exactly, that's all we've done since we've started.
That does include grinding.
No, it
No,
does
we
not,
don't grind stumps.
does not.
Have
And
you ever done a stump since you've been doing this?
We used to, if it was the occasional tree, I mean, when you're looking at this kind of a number of trees, that number is pretty substantial as well.
I can't remember the.
And I had Sarah send the DNR report in 2013. They had a study done for the town of Stuart. They suggested that we set aside $7,000 annually and apply for grants. Was this ever done?
That would have been nice to have that study.
Yes.
Money was set aside?
Yes.
Okay. So I guess,
So we have a fund.
Yes.
It's news to me.
So is it $7,000 a year that's set aside, or just
no,
7,000?
7,000 set aside.
So we have
Just-
70,000 just sitting around.
No,
7,000.
just 7.
Is how many trees you remove?
Oh,
68.
I thought it was 7,000 a year.
That's what I thought. too.
I was like,
They
well, great.
suggested to set aside $7,000 a year to cover this.
So that's what you said, $7,000 a year, and you just said, yes, we did that, so we would have $70,000.
No, we spend on removing trees and all this stuff. So we
Oh,
still
so
have
we-
some money left.
So we've been doing it each year, but taking money out to pay for the trees.
Yes.
So if we never removed a tree, we'd have 70,000 sitting there.
Is that the money that we spent on the lift that we purchased?
No, that lift came out of road use.
Well, that came out of your budget then.
Yes, sir.
Bunch of loan and bond issues and all this.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah.
So
But the trees will be removing because of that 7,000.
Okay, so where would this money come from?
From the road use money.
You're gonna
Well,
take road use money to pay for removing trees?
Road use money, yeah, you can use it for trees, you can use it for employment and all this stuff. But we've been doing that since the study and supporting the removal of the tree, supporting the wages, supporting all that stuff.
But I don't know that taking money from a road use when we need fixed, why
We
would
need
that make
fixed.
sense to take $70,000 out of that?
Not 70, 7,000.
But I'm saying, where is this gonna come from, to take all these trees out?
I don't
Where are
know.
we getting
This is what
70,000?
he's proposing to, and I'm answering one coach.
Okay,
This is second
sorry.
coach. So, no, it's okay. 7,000 every year, yes. We use it toward wages, we use it toward
Right.
fixing stuff, all these things.
Okay, so now on this,
Yeah,
now that
that's,
we know where that money's going,
yeah,
nothing we
that's
can do now.
council decision to
But
decide.
I guess I talked to a couple different lawyers and said, we're liable if something happens here. There's a huge limb up on Main. We've got people taking down their own ash trees now. They're taking out their own stumps now. We don't have the manpower to do this. And once I finish this, we're gonna go into the wage part of it. But I had a contractor tell me that Earlham, Adele, Woodward, Adair, Greenfield, Winterset are all removing their stumps. We've got stumps out to the soccer complex and out the cemetery, the sucker trees are growing up on. And I think we need to remove the stumps. I know that's gonna be more cost.
Might be how their ordinances are written too, because it's not written in our ordinance to
It isn't in a lot of these other towns either, but they're not gonna have 200 stumps sitting around the right of way either.
Well, and my feeling on this is we're already spending 70,000 just to get the trees down, so our liability is down. We cannot afford,
I wonder how old
Because
other
now you're
towns are.
but now you're gonna have to, Mike Johnson, how many trees did you remove from his house?
7.
7, and they paid to have their own stumps. So now we're gonna have people coming back and saying, well, now you've done this, you're gonna have to start reimbursing people for their,
Where do you draw the line?
yeah. But it's not fair to go ahead and do it now when someone like Mr. Johnson spent, a bunch of money to have his removed
Well, he's
out
not
of his
the
own
only one.
pocket.
There's a lot of people starting to take their own down.
And it's not the tree, he didn't take the tree down, he got the stumps removed.
But I
City
think
takes
we
the
need
trees
to
down.
check, if we go ahead and say, have a contractor take these trees out, we need to check with other towns financially and see how they're doing their stumps. That's gonna be terrible, leaving all these stumps in the front yard.
And it's terrible that we have to take all these trees. I mean, that's just how it works. I don't think that we can afford to take stumps out. That's not, we took the tree down.
I have a question on
Yes.
that. So I know we've been talking a lot. I think I may have mentioned this maybe a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, whatever it was. But I know we were talking just about taking the trees out. Have we ever looked at the possibility that, are there any that could be saved?
There are a few of the ash trees that have been treated that are in the right of way that are maintaining themselves, but most of the ones on that list are done.
Okay.
Yeah, that list is the Port of Fair, or Fair and Port.
Because I had reached out to an arborist in the area and they had said anywhere from even 50% defoliage, they could try to treat it. And it was it wasn't real expensive. It was like $10 per inch circumference. So 30-inch tree, which if you treat $300, that, I don't know how much it costs to take down a tree, whatever, might save some, but I didn't know if there's any that might be worth looking at.
Every,
Okay,
Yes.
all right, thank you.
So at this point, I think the council would need to decide if we're gonna hire a contractor down or have the liability of limbs falling down on kids' head when they're walking to school.
Well, I think we need to figure out how we're gonna pay for it first.
And then we need to get bids, so we have an extra number. I know
That's
that's an
correct.
estimate. but-
that's what you wanted to know,
Right.
kind of what we were looking at. That's what I did. I did not seek bids.
Okay.
Well, I think in my opinion, we need to step back and look at the bigger picture. So, I mean, right now we have one full-time guy and a part-timer, no offense.
None taken.
And we all know what he's doing.
Right.
So if we had 2 full-time guys and maybe a possible third, we could probably knock out some of this a little bit quicker. My opinion.
Can I throw something in here?
Yeah.
When we had 3 of us, when Steven was here, I sent Corey and Steven to do tree work. I did street repair work, tear out concrete, get it prepped, get it pinned, get it ready. Then when I was ready to pour concrete, I would pull them off of trees. We'd pour our concrete, and then they'd go back to trees.
Did that work for you?
That worked just fine.
Yeah, it was
And they were
working pretty
taking
good.
down quite a few. I
And we
mean,
were getting quite a few done.
Yeah.
That's
And now
just where we
you
were
guys
at.
Question is, if you say this is gonna be a year and a half, 2 years, one tree falling on a person or a kid and $1 million lawsuit, you're gonna be in big time trouble.
But we
And there's a huge limb up Main Street, come crashing right down on the sidewalk.
What one, Dick?
Huh?
What one? What tree was that?
Richard Peters, big enough it could kill some kid. Sitting right, he moved it off of the sidewalk.
And I'm not disagreeing with that. I mean, I totally agree with that as well. Just trying to find a solution on how we can
Yeah.
get this taken care of with.
So we could split it in half.
Well, that
Say, okay, we'll contract out the poor instead of not just the fair. We'll just do the poor. And then leave see where we're at from there. Because the other two things on this item here, I think is going to help. If we can come up with a solution, it's gonna help with
Christine,
things.
I think the poor ones are pretty well done, because we did the poor ones first. Those that are on your list are the fair, and some of them are starting to get poor, but most of those
There's about 4 of them on there that are really bad.
Okay, so let's do fair. Just do the fair ones. I mean, I'm trying, to get a handle on it, and then,
So these remaining 68 on this page, those are still there, right?
Correct,
And
yes,
that's the ones you had planned on taking out this year?
this year, correct.
And they're all similar condition, right?
Yeah.
There's about 4 of them on that list that are really bad, but the rest of them are about all the same.
And your estimate on here said 77 trees.
That's including the fair and the good.
No, I don't think so, Jim. I went back and looked at
Oh,
that.
did
That
you?
68 number is wrong. That 68 number needs to be like 74.
Okay.
That 68 was added wrong.
So we're talking 60 grand just to get done with the fair ones that need to
Yes.
be cut down, that are all the
Yes,
same.
that does not include the good ones.
Okay. And like I say, that was only an estimate. It would be hard to press to tell where the bids come in.
Right.
When somebody's coming to town to take that majority of trees out, your price may be a little cheaper than you're
Yeah,
anticipating.
I was gonna say, is, if we do bids and we don't like them, we don't have to.
You're not
I was
obligated to
just
accept the
ready
bid.
to ask that.
When we bid anything, we always post it, the city reserves the right to refuse
Exactly.
any and all bids, so.
I mean, it might not be a bad idea to get some bids out there and see where they come in and,
And then talk about, and give Ash some time to look at,
yeah, you could work with this 70, the high number, I'd work with that.
That's a target.
Yeah, and try to figure, how we could do that somehow. And then when we see the bids come in, I don't know, what do you guys think?
Is there any other way we can finance this, or, we're
We have, like Christina said, we really need to get the hard number. And then with the road use, sometimes it goes, I work with Jim every year where the direction is, sometimes we go on the street, according to his need, When we get the numbers, I can sit with him and see what the direction, can we do half of them and do half the street, because I usually listen to him and listen to his need. How now, because I don't know really what the number is gonna come out. Christina brought a good point, you can do half, and let them have the other half, we can make that decision together. But first, if you let him bid it out, like Mike said, we can get a hard number to know really where we at. And then I would sit with him before we come to the council and see what is really needed, because we put most of the money for road use on the street every year. We're doing that asphalt. For the last 20, 25 years, him and I have done a good job doing all these asphalt street. And I try, if we go 1 year without, we go the second year, and 2 years together. So allow us that time to figure out really what the cost is and what his need is, to come to the next meeting and tell you.
Jim, can you get bids and before the next meeting? So you guys, you can get the bids and then you and Ash can work and then we can see what happens next. And
Yes.
Yep.
that time.
do we need a motion?
Yes.
Yeah, but I think if Jim goes and gets bids, and for let's just say 70 trees to make it easy. If he gets bids for a company to come in and do 70 trees, and we say, well, we're not comfortable with that amount of money, let's just have Corey and Jim do half of them, and we're only gonna pay for this company to do half. That bid's gonna change.
Right.
They're not
that's-
gonna, it's gonna be more per tree.
You can get it alternated.
You want to get an alternate, so just like we did out there, you do the whole thing and then half. Which I don't know,
You can bid them in 2 groups.
Yes,
There you
Group
go.
A, Group B.
and that's a good idea.
And like Group A would be
I don't know how you split
everything.
that, because you probably wanna have it like geographically
Yes,
split.
So you would have to go through this list
more
and
work for
pick
you.
out.
Yeah.
I think at this point it's used to that.
But it will give us the option to choose one with the other, or choose both.
So Group A, Group B in total.
And I'll be able to come to the next meeting.
Well, just 2 groups, and then you can decide what your funding is and what you wanna farm out.
Sure.
Okay.
We need a motion.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second
Moved by Renzo, second by Cobal. How do you vote? Morgan? Yes. Cobal?
Yes.
Renzo?
Yes.
Dolly? Yes. Kirkpatrick? Yes.
And just on a typographical thing, can we get Gaines spelled right on these lists?
That could very well be the guy that typed the list.
Oh,
Sorry.
It's okay.
Not to name names.
No.
I wasn't naming names.
We're looking at.
Okay, 5B, wages update.
I want to say that we had, last meeting, I said we had a stable police department because we raised wages. We've had Ethan Pope workforce from 8/31/2018 to 2/12/2020. Stephen Martinson worked from 7/22 to 11/18/2022. Zach Barnhouse worked 3/10/2023 to 3/24/2023. We had a year and a half without a third person. 3 people quit for better pay. The comp time Jim McCory put in doesn't even come close to 2,080 hours that a third person would be working, plus a $25,000 benefit package. They were told they could only work so many comp hours. Well, they're not getting enough stuff done with not having 3 people. I've talked to Ash. We're suggesting to the council that you raise Jim McCory's wages $1 an hour now and start a new guy out at $20 an hour. We were $17, $18. We're not keeping anybody. If we can't hire a third person, which I don't know if we would be able to, Ash said we have approximately $680 per week to sub out work that needs to be done. Like the comp hours, if you want to look at them here, that's from this year and last year.
And these wages, we're just talking about public works right now, right?
Yes,
Not
just,
EMS.
just public works. And the biggest frustration, when we had the police, we'd hire a person, they'd go through academy and drop off the uniform and walk out the door. 25 officers in so many years we had to go through here, and we're having the same thing with the public works. We gotta pay more money to keep somebody here. It's frustrating to Jim McCory to start training somebody, thinking they have a good guy, and then they quit. But like I say, I'm strongly suggesting if we can't get the right fit person right away, say, well, sub out $680 because that's what we would have been paying for Martinson's labor.
Has this been discussed with Jim prior to?
That's not.
I'd like to say something. I know at the last meeting we talked about this, and I'm all for, we gotta have good wages. That's how that's what people work for. I also asked if we could have some sort of a wage study done to see where other cities have this, and I don't see it. I don't see anything showing, well, hey, this place pays this pays that, so we can kind of compare. $1 an hour seems, it's $1 an hour, but if it made sense where we could up it more, but where's that backing? That's kind of what I was looking for.
Yeah, they should be able to go right to every city and just immediately find out what the wages are.
Who's
It's
they?
in the state,
Who's they?
the city.
Well, that's what I asked for. That's what I asked for. And because if we all remember, when Chief Rehaw made his presentation, he had facts and he brought us paper and he showed us this, and I don't want to put anything more on your back. I think that could be done.
There's not any room, Mike.
Yeah, I know.
I mean,
I
he's
know.
got
But
a mouth.
that's where, if we can, help support them and get this information and kind of find some wage information so we can justify it. And I'm sure we can. I'm sure it can be justified. I would just like, so I can say, this is justified and this is why.
But upping it $1 when maybe it should be $4 and then we're having to adjust it again or $5 or whatever it is. We need to be able to see what it is that surrounding counties are paying, just like what Chief Rehaw did, just like what I'm pretty sure the EMS is going to do. They're going to show you, here's the facts. Here's what Penora's paying. Here's what Earlham's paying or whatever it might be.
And that was one thing we kind of almost talked about upping it the last time. And I was like, what way to do it the right way? Let's see this. Let's get it taken care of in one fell swoop, instead of keep coming back, piecemealing it together.
What if we're still posting for a third?
I haven't for a little while just because we weren't getting anything.
What if we decided to post it for 20? Right, with the intent that we're going to obviously, if we get someone, we need to bump their wages regardless, but that might give us time. I'm just saying to get it out
Till
there.
next month to get, or.
Then maybe we have some comparisons. We're not gonna pay the new guy less than we pay Corey. So like, if we do get someone, we're gonna have to up it anyways, right?
Now, let me throw my 2 cents in there. What if a guy applies and he's got a sewer license? No offense, Corey, but Corey doesn't.
Yeah, he does. He's at a grade
One.
I got
Grade 1.
I got
Okay,
grade
what
one.
if he comes in with grade 3? Now where are you gonna put him?
Well, then he's gonna
I
have
think-
to be above Corey.
What we need to do, I think we need to have, job descriptions is, I mean, for your guys' position, you need to have, what's the recommendations for, you have to have a sewer 3.
I have to have a 3.
So how long does it take for you to get a sewer 3 license? I mean, is that
You're a minimum of 5. You're a
5
minimum of 5 years.
5 years?
I
So,
see where you're going with this.
You see what I mean?
Yeah, so
So-
you're kind of basing it on qualifications,
Correct.
you know? Hey, if you come in with nothing, this is where you start at, but if you bring in your wages based on, like you said, you have the sewer 3, maybe you justify a higher wage on that.
And I'm not trying to kick Mr. Geisinger in the shins by no means. That's not what I'm trying to do, is kick anybody in the shins. I just think that before we start pulling people away,
That's,
because if Jim, if Corey's getting close to Jim, then Jim could come back and say, well, that's not fair. I've had my grade 3 for years and years and years, and Corey's had a grade 1. You see where I'm going with this?
one
No,
thing,
I see exactly where you're going.
one thing too that affects this, not everybody wants to do that part of the job.
Exactly.
That's part of our issue.
Yeah.
And that's fine. And if Corey doesn't want to do that part of the job, and somebody else that comes in and goes right up the ladder and gets a grade 3, now is Corey going to be sitting right here upset that somebody else that's been here for 5 years and he's been here 10, make him. See what I mean?
That happens at my job, I'll tell you that.
Right, doesn't mind as well.
That's just the way it is,
Yeah.
but I agree that's, we really, how do you, I don't know if, I know we sat up here and asked for job descriptions for quite a while. I don't know if there's
But
anything in writing for you
could it-
guys, I mean,
Can we put in the job posting that we start at X or do we just not
We
put
just-
anything in there
we
and you
put in there
put based
before
on,
Qualifications, that's
based
what
on
we put for
qualifications and see what you get?
over and over and over again.
Make no mistake, I appreciate what you guys do, and I'm not kicking you guys in the shins and saying that you don't deserve the money. I'm not saying that at all. I'm just having an open discussion and things.
How
that
many
we can do.
applicants you have right now?
We've got four sorted through, correct, Corey, 4? I think that we're in that
3 or 4.
3 or 4 that we were looking at calling for setting up an interview.
And do any of them have any sewer qualifications?
so they.
Most of them have no outside experience at all.
I think you called one and he wasn't willing to do the.
No, he wasn't, one was not willing to start at the $17 an hour and the other one was not willing to work in the water department.
I think maybe we should just come up with, and maybe it's not for this meeting, but I think we need to come up with pay grades. So if you're at a sewer license 1, you're in this pay band, then you cap out at this wage. Get a 2, 3, whatever, you're in this pay band, and you can cap out there's wages. You see what I'm saying?
No, I think it's a great
And that
idea.
would have been done if we got that information, so we could have had that, so.
I think it's something that we really should work on. Then that way, everybody kind of knows the expectations, what you're gonna get paid, where you're gonna cap out. If you just want to be just a laborer and you don't want to do the sewer stuff, I get it.
That doesn't
And
work,
this is- here-
that doesn't work for us.
Right, and here's where your wages are, and you're gonna be capped out at $21 an hour. That's it.
That doesn't work for us because that person, that new hire needs to be put into the rotation of on-call.
Sure.
Right.
And the on-call involves taking care of the wastewater plant as well.
Surely there's another city that we don't need to reinvent the wheel here.
No, that's,
Right,
no,
you
you
know,
should be
right.
able to go out and find that somewhere.
I would think. I don't know.
Well, I don't think Panora has their own wastewater person.
They have lagoons.
But they,
Yeah.
but they don't have somebody that works for the city that takes care of them.
Yes, they do.
They do.
Yeah.
And then, so who, they have a grade 3 person?
I'm not sure what their lagoons are.
Okay.
That's not where I work. I work in a private one.
Okay.
I would just hate to give you guys like $2 or $3 an hour where maybe it should be more. Yeah, I'm not saying, you know.
And I'll
I'm
just,
sure they
I'll
can
just
do
throw this out there for your information. I have 3 left.
It's 3.
I have 3 years left, so.
Yeah, I don't want to push away any employees because of wages by no means. I think you guys do a heck of a good job and I think there's a solution. We just need to find it.
So can we post something that says based on qualifications and see if we get more applicants?
That's the best way to do it, you know, based on qualification. And then I can sit with Jim and have that big grade like. what
And we can
Mike
work on
was
and have that for next, have that
Yes.
piece of it for next meeting. But at
Yes.
least between now and then, we can put just based on you know, salary
Yes.
based on
Yeah, I
qualifications.
think
Yes.
if
See
you've
what
been
we
doing
get.
that, just, you know, yeah, go forward.
Let's do
Just
I mean,
that.
if you don't have a number in there, that opens it up for anybody to put it in there. I mean, and then you can at least see what you're getting,
Yeah.
if
We'll go with-
anything.
We'll go with that, do that and get that based on qualification. And then we'll get the big grade. Jim, we'll sit down and talk about the big grade. And then we'll do one more thing, which is what Mike wants. We'll see the surrounding towns, not everybody big. Then we'll come to the next meeting, have more of this information, will allow you to make a informed decision.
Right, yeah.
Okay.
Jim, do you have any work that you could sub out with this extra money? $680.
But in reality, Dick, that's not extra money because those funds are pulled out of road use. When we pull those funds out of road use, that's less road repairs that we can do.
But the council approved the third person.
I understand that. I'm just telling you.
And that's
It's not
what I said.
like we're just picking that
I
out of the
know,
sky.
but that money was designated for third person. It's not being used to take the burden off you guys.
It is being used because it's used in a paving project
Yeah,
or a
it's
road
using
repair.
it. It's
But
budget.
not grumbling that you got so much to do, just like this painting was all subbed out one time, right? The stripes.
No,
Yes, 1 year it was subbed out.
the only reason that was done that way was because the project was being done. That's it.
It was being,
The
it subbed out
contractor did
because
that
the
as part of the
downtown
project.
project subbed it out as part of their
Yes.
restructure.
Yes.
or their
Maybe
production.
we do it this way, if there's anything that you can think of, maybe get with Ash. If there's anything, I know we talked about helping out with painting the helipad out there.
We'll visit about that tonight.
Okay, just anything that comes to mind that could be done, you know, just open mind, throw it by
Yep.
Ash and see what happens.
Okay.
Then we'll hopefully have that information for you, get you guys squared away.
So now we need to talk about the EMS wages.
Emergency services?
Yep.
Okay.
Because
Thanks,
that's part
Jim.
of,
Thanks, Jim.
You
part of
bet.
this is to get Jim from stopping, getting him to actually do his job and
Yeah,
not.
we had a meeting.
Right.
And I think I met with Lou, Sean, and Jim. And they all agreed on the concept of trying to put Jim as the last call option during the day to be called. And then Jim would like to work with him at night on his own time to be getting paid. That's the meeting that I had with the three, that they are at the council room today.
Yeah, so, but then we need to take that a step further and we need to look at what are we gonna do to make up for Jim's loss on the EMS? And how are we gonna help them out to get more drivers and things of that sort? So I think we have something, don't you?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, we're always looking for people. I've been working on getting like signs up here and stuff like that. People in the community that. The problem is that especially on the volunteer driver side of it, that can go very quickly from one side to the other. You know, in May, we were plenty covered and whatever, you know, and then now June, we have no one, for example. And that's not actually how that worked out, but I'm just saying that you can go from having way too many people to not enough people just because of the volunteer nature of it, very quickly. So that really becomes the problem, and so then that problem is confounded with if you have, let's say we had a dozen or 15 people that would drive for us, right? That's great, because then Jim can always be free, you know, if there's a second out or whatever, so on and so forth. Well, how do you keep those people engaged? Because that's how you end up going from 12 or 15 people to like 3, because then they can't ever pick up a shift because everybody else has done it, and so on and so forth, because you have so many people. And there are ways around that. Like, I'm not saying that is what kills everything, right? But it's a multifaceted problem that's, I don't know, just goes from month to month, day to day sometimes. So, I mean, we have been, hopefully, the signboard I put up, I've got some signs that I'm gonna pass around town and stuff like that to get people, you know, we really haven't, what should I say, like put it out there for like EMTs and paramedics to get more of those in the house, because those are, you know, we do fairly okay with that, you know, and so once you start like doubling up on those, then, you know, we're really adding a lot of cost to that, and so then, you know, there's kind of a, I don't know, give or take as far as that's concerned. So, I mean, I guess the question would be what kind of information can I give you? I know he was saying to use some stuff on like wages or whatever.
I could just run this over real quick. So basically, I just did a quick study. I called up different agencies that are surrounding us. Looked at Adair, Panora, Cass County, which is Atlantic, Madison, Stuart Rescue. Very few people will actually hire or have ambulance drivers' wages. However, Adair does, and they pay them per hour for a 24-hour period at a rather high wage, in my opinion. But so basically, what we can gather from all of this is basically just to kind of compare and see what who's looking at, right? So if they want to come drive for us and we tell them it's $50 a day, they might think that's awesome because they might be in Stuart with nothing else to do. But if they want to look at it as an actual wage, like a per hour type thing, a possible way that we could go is to give them an hourly wage like $8 or $10 per hour, which would then allow them to split their shifts up, because we have a lot of people that might have daycare and have late afternoon shifts, and so it's not exactly a 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. or a 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. shift, and so we would be able to break that up a little bit easier and be able to provide a pool. Also, if we pay per hour a fair wage, then we might actually attract the younger generation, like high schoolers or people recently graduated, which would then get them a foot in the door to EMS and allow them the exposure to the EMS and the fire environment. And that might increase their desire to work with us, and might increase them going to our EMT class and that's a paramedic.
That's a good way to get people in the door, is you get a driver in the door and you say, hey, I'll put you through EMT class, you know, and of course they don't start all the time. It's not like I hire somebody today and then they start EMT class Monday, right? So, but at the same time, I've proposed that, and then we kind of get some pushback. Well, what happens when that person leaves? You know, same thing with the police that we've had. You know, I think that is a great way, especially, you know, we talk about like keeping paramedics and stuff on. Luckily, we're doing okay right now, but it wouldn't take next week to be in an absolutely terrible position with that as well. So, you know, I think that training is a great way to get people in there. I think, you know, we can increase their wage. I think that just becomes difficult to really, like, you know, we kind of talk about like, oh, give them $1 an hour raise for Jim and Corey. Well, is that really going to entice anybody more than we're already getting? I don't know. Maybe it will, maybe it won't.
So do you guys have like a job description here? I go again about the job description on being a driver. I mean, maybe some people might be interested in that if
Oh, I
they
didn't
do.
I was gonna say, the
Or it's
advertisement that he has out on the board basically describes the
Oh,
drivers.
sure, okay.
Very simply, the driver, all they have to have is a driver's license, a normal driver's license, CPR card, and driver's training, which we do.
No, it's up there on the desk.
So there is a description on the advertisement that.
Perfect,
Perfect as well, so.
Because I thought about it, I just can't remember if I.
Idea, like, of how many people would be ideal to have as drivers, like
And
6,
that-
8, 10.
That number varies. Like you mentioned, if you have an overly stacked, roster, then you're not going to be able to engage everybody. However, that number varies depending on how much time each individual has to offer. Like some people only have, maybe 6 hours at night that they could have covered, but that could be 6 hours at night that other people could not. So I like the idea of having enough resources to adequately cover our needs. And like you mentioned, a lot of people have summer jobs, so especially this month in particular, it's very difficult to find drivers because our main have summertime jobs that they're doing. So it'd be definitely good to have a pool of, I'm just gonna say 6 to 10
Okay.
drivers.
Well, and that's what I was looking, I said, most jobs, James will agree, we do capacity planning.
Right.
So we kind of know, you gotta have 8, that's it, these ebbs and flows, so.
The thing is that having extra drivers isn't really an additional cost. Like we're not paying them just to be on the roster,
Right.
that they're part of EMS. The only time we're paying them is when they're actually on the job. So it's not like we're not losing anything by having, 15 people on
Right.
the roster.
It's only if they're on the schedule
Exactly.
that day,
Yep.
which makes sense.
We don't really, we don't charge for CPR cards, so there's really even no cost there. So it's really good to have, especially in an organization such as this, where we cannot pay them the wages that you see here. It's hard to compete with this. And so when we do provide that, it's nice to be able to provide training and say, look, we don't expect you to put in regular hours. And so we don't mandatory, we don't give mandatory hours in that case. So it's nice to just have a lot of people on the roster in order to fill all the holes.
Sure. And I know you said, Adair County has a pretty big starting wage. Okay, that's Greenfield, not Adair. So are they always?
The city of Adair is 100% volunteer, they don't care.
All right.
Yeah. That's EMS.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, fire too.
And they have a pretty good, of drivers now.
Sure. For the city of Adair?
For Greenfield, Adair County EMS.
Adair County?
They're hospital based.
Okay.
Their EMS is hospital based.
They do the same thing we do, where a lot of their drivers pull from like the fire department, people that are around town and ready to respond to that kind of stuff. To specifically answer your question, I don't know what kind of actual numbers they have as far as
Participation and stuff like that. Okay.
right, but I that we can hear them they page out for like the second out because the first out's going to Des Moines on a transfer. And the way so the way they kind of get around that is that the first out is always 2 clinicians, EMT, paramedic, or sometimes they'll run nurses out of the hospital as well. And so then that second out would be EMT or paramedic, and then that volunteer driver, whatever. So as far as how many they have, I know I have heard them call out that they need coverage and they have the paramedic, they just need, someone to sign up for the drive. So but I don't know what the actual number would be, but that's kind of how I understand they operate that.
Have you talked to Ash about, is that feasible, what they would be asking for, the 8 to 10? If they paid drivers that on an hourly basis rather than $50 the way they get it now?
I'm okay with it. I don't see any problem if you want to raise them.
I think that's a nice that's a nice start to looking at wages altogether. Because this is gonna help us get Jim back. into what he's supposed to be doing during the day.
No, exactly.
No,
I don't think we'll know until after a while. I don't think we'll actually know.
So you're proposing to pay $8 an hour?
It's just something we can look at, because the issue is also we have to look at longevity. So, in order to maintain Stuart Rescue for the long term, we have to be able to, I mean, we've got great volunteers right now. I mean, we've got Jim, we've got Corey, we got a lot of good volunteers who work with us on the ambulance for now. But if those people move or no longer work for us, then it's difficult to find that dedicated personnel. So we need to kind of look forward into the future as to what is it going to take to hire additional personnel.
I think, kind of to the point of like, what is 117, which is the Greenfield ambulance, what they're doing, and this is what most agencies have gone with, including Panora, who utilizes volunteers on their second house as well, is the first out crew is not volunteer based. You pay a paramedic, EMT, or paramedic, whatever, to be on that truck all the time. It doesn't matter. We're not relying on Jim for the first out regardless, because, so on and so forth. To accomplish that, to include like more than just Luke and I full time. I was telling him that I was talking to somebody from Polk City, which of course is a metro department-ish. They run 400 calls a year. They have 3 full-time people and a paid fire chief. So, we run 600 calls a year and we have 1.5 full-time people. That's how they cover theirs, is that they have 2 people. They only do like during the day, but they utilize some volunteers, but they really kind of stepped away from that because there's no good solid, when you're working with volunteers, they have to volunteer. And luckily we've been very lucky and very, we have, I think, a stable in general department other than, waxes and wanes. But that's really the long-term solution, is to eliminate the need for volunteers on the first out crew. So you're eliminating not to say that we can't have drivers on, right? Keep them engaged, but then, your first out crew is there in the station all the time. So that's really, I think, the direction that we need to head. So, sure, paying them $10 an hour. Honestly, if you sign up for a 12-hour shift, you get, $20 already. You go on a call, you're already looking at $60. That's going to go up to $50 and $40. So then you would be at, so you're really not looking at any different pay wise. So as far as like bottom line is concerned, paying them $10 an hour is fine, but I don't think anybody's going to feel any better about being paid $10 an hour than they are volunteering their time for, $30 or $40 for a shift just to be in town. It's guaranteed pay, which is good, but nobody's going to pick that over a full-time job or, whatever the case may be. So we'll still run into this, especially during the day, the same situation, I think.
I respect what he said, and I respect what Luke said. Yes, it's not a big difference, but we can give it a try, based on hourly,
That was the point of saying that, was that
yes.
bottom line, we're not
And
changing
that's why
that a lot.
Respect all what you just said, I really do.
So
We can,
can I correct me or interrupt if you don't like whatever? So for tonight, can we go ahead and I'd make the motion to switch to the $10 per hour for the drivers like they've proposed? And then additionally, we can start looking more at EMT wages, paramedic wages, so we are tracking with other counties. Just in the future, we can start planning and making sure that we're.
I mean, I have a
We
lot
get
of
the
those
bigger-
around here.
No,
Like,
I see that, but we need to look at we need to get this driver thing,
okay,
and
that's,
then we can
yes.
build
Okay,
off
yeah,
of that and we can
Later
going
on,
forward.
yeah.
I mean, but and then just remember, this still doesn't happen overnight. Just
No,
like with Jim
I-
having a
trouble getting.
I understand that, that's why I'm saying it's a starting point, and we can build from here, but we can at least maybe try moving this driver thing and see what happens.
Yes, and it's a good idea. Moved by Christina.
Second.
Second by Cobble.
Um,
How do you vote?
So just can I get the motion repeated, just so I know what we're,
To increase, to switch the drivers to pay hourly,
Ten
$10.
per, I said 10 per hour.
10 per hour. Yes, okay.
Okay,
Moved and seconded.
How do you vote? Morgan?
Yes.
Cobble?
Yes.
Renzo?
Yes,
Dolly? Yes. Kirkpatrick? Yes.
Thank you, guys.
thank you for putting in
Thanks
the
for the-
effort to come up with those figures.
Yeah,
See,
5C.
Does the police have any updates on the cameras?
Oh, so that was on there because the legislature's done, and we said we were gonna revisit this after the legislature was done, correct?
What did they
And
come up with?
They did not do anything.
Okay.
So it's on there so we can discuss what our intentions are. I mean, are we scraping this? Are we, thank you.
Well, the one guy put out armadillos out here for a speed study.
Yeah, but
And I haven't heard anything
his-
about it.
didn't his, and maybe Shane knows more, I know you don't like answering questions, but the guy that put that information, his proposal was to give you guys something to do it. It wasn't an independent speed camera, correct?
It was just a study, I believe.
But but if they were to provide services, it would be a handheld type device for you? You don't know?
That would be one option. What he was looking at was doing the study to see where you could put a speed camera, which we kind of discussed out at school, that type of thing. Then they give a handheld one that would do the same thing as a stationary one, but you'd have the presence of an officer there.
But doesn't that defeat the purpose? I mean, so the speed cameras are put out to help control the speed, let's just say on the interstate, to help slow it down. So that your officers can be in town more often,
Right.
out in these school zones or out on this intersection that's constantly, the semis don't think they need,
But
or
the handheld one.
at my stop sign on North Adair that's ran 20 times in a race night, to the point that I have to call dispatch and, probably remove them from whatever they're doing, which is too bad, but that's the point. It's to bringing them back into town, but slowing the traffic down on the interstate.
But the handheld one they're talking about will hit boom, 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 boom. You don't have to physically go ticket the,
But he still has to be out there. That's
well,
the
that
thing.
could be in town or near the school or anything.
But the ones out, the other guy was proposing
Yeah.
are there, and he or she doesn't have to physically be on the interstate. It's catching them as they go. That's what I'm trying to figure out is which proposal is better, but we need to make a decision instead of just letting this linger and linger, and then it comes up in a year and we, kick it around and
Well,
then.
we probably ought to have the chief and the person involved.
Okay, so it was on the agenda. Is there a reason why
Yeah, that's why I
the
did.
information isn't here?
Well, he doesn't have all the information yet.
But-
Because we were gonna shop
How
around
many
to-
times have we been shoving this off? That's where I'm so stuck. Like, we've been asking and asking and asking, and we've been putting this on the agenda, and we just kick it down the road.
And it should,
And
when I
we
saw
said
it on
to the
there, I was like,
legislature was done, we would
where's
make a
the-
decision.
where's the information at for us to decide, on that? Because I was hoping, we'd have something from the dude that did the study, if we did that. So it's like, why is it on there if we don't have the information?
Because we said after legislature's done, we were gonna make a decision.
Well, and we also said have this guy bring the information back.
But he's had months and months to do it. So can we make sure for next month it's on there and we have all the information so we can just make a decision and be done with it? And please ask the chief to be here so he can answer any questions.
Well, we better get the information from the State House telling us what their decision was for sure.
Well, and they didn't make a decision, so we can have our city attorney just confirm that they didn't make a decision. And that it was just,
There's been a lot of discussion. If you remember the last guy that was in here, that's gonna put the armadillos up, he said he wouldn't recommend putting them out there just for the optics of it. And that's where the handheld came in, is if you had an officer out there, I don't know how long you'd be on there, doing it for a little bit. You have the presence of an officer backing up that camera, because it takes it, they don't chase them, they don't have to ride it right there. It's the same principle as a stationary one. You just be able to say, well, an officer actually
And I
solidly.
don't care which way, I just want the information so we can
Was that
make
the
a decision.
Pleasantville one?
No, it's the one.
Monroe.
Prairie
Prairie
City.
City,
Prairie
that's
City, yeah.
That was the Prairie City one, because then we had the other one, the one from Florida.
Right,
They're the
and-
ones that had the ones that.
They had the 5-year contract too.
yeah, and they
Yes.
had them stationary, and they were also able to pick up any stolen vehicles or Amber Alerts and have it pinged to an officer's phone within 10 seconds.
And I believe this guy said this last one.
And it very well
I think
could.
they
I'm
all
just
did,
saying,
but yeah.
I
yeah,
just-
yeah.
get confirmation that the state house did nothing, and then get the information so we can just make a decision and move on.
Sounds like a plan.
And then we're just done.
Yes. Move to item number 9.
And resolution number 23-18C, approval of cigarette permits for fiscal year July 1st, 2023 to June 30th, 2024.
It's a yearly resolution with that.
Yes. Motion.
Signed by Calva.
Moved by Cobal, second by Morgan. How do you vote, Morgan? Yep. Cobal?
Yes.
Renzo?
Yes.
Dolly? Yes. Kirkpatrick? Yes. Number 10, best of the block, Wes Wagner.
You have the flyer?
You betcha.
We do.
Color?
No,
No.
we colored it ourselves.
Take one back of mine. So I'm just giving you an update. I don't need any money, Ash. It's
Okay.
not yet, it's still early.
Thank you so much.
The 22nd and the 23rd, I want to thank Jim and Corey. I did request to close northwest and northeast second on Friday, but we're not going to close the east or the west. We will close the central portion between the movie theater and Dollar, so that we get all our stuff set up. Other than that, we will close them on Saturday. But this year, we're trying to make this a bigger event. So we want to have a vendor show on the west side, and then we're gonna have bike night on Saturday from 5 to 10 on the east end, down by the post office. I talked to Steve, they don't have an issue with it at all. It's not gonna interrupt their hours because it's at night anyway, so. And we're gonna have somebody cook a whole hog, and the agenda is on here. So I guess I just wanted to know if anybody had any questions.
You got all the stuff filled out. He's been working with you and.
Yeah, they did their
Chief,
street,
we just
they
don't
did their street closure form.
Okay,
Yeah,
good.
is he good? You
I
good?
did, I go by the rules, Mike.
Okay, well, first time for everything there.
No, I come early. I
Good.
don't wanna be Mr. Last Minute.
No, that's a good idea.
But we will have a gentleman coming from Greenfield. He's gonna cook a whole hog. Our charity is the food pantry. They're in need. I mean, they serve all 4 communities and a lot of kids. So we think that's important again this year, coming off of COVID and a bad year after that. So anyway, if you don't have any questions.
No, good job.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Russ.
Okay, number 11, safe routes to school.
Forrest.
Forrest.
So far away, it's not used to this. So Forrest Aldridge, Main Street Kim, just to update council, the contractor's looking to get started in the next couple weeks. And what's before you tonight is a change order that we talked about at the previous council meeting. And this would be to add under the sidewalk, 4 inches of granular subbase, and under the driveway, 6 inches of granular subbase. The cost to do that, that's been updated since the last time, but we're at $25,700 to add that granular material. We had quite the discussion about, is this always done? Should we do it? I'm sure Jim is here tonight. And you know, normally when we bid this project, normally we don't have granular surfacing under sidewalks and driveways. There's a lot of times a skim coat to get a uniform concrete thickness, but not always a full granular for like a subdivision. But for, this is a city project, you know, and if there's any cracking in the sidewalk, I understand where Jim's coming from. There's no maintenance fund with this because it's funded with the DOT. And so this is extra additional strength to that sidewalk and driveways to help protect that and make it last longer. This will make it last longer. Is it worth the cost or not? You know, I don't know that. But this would be for council's consideration tonight. And I'm sure Jim has some thoughts on it as well.
My only thought is just keep in mind where there is no maintenance bond, once the sidewalk is done, it reverts to the property owners. So it's gonna be on their backs.
So I'm sorry,
Go ahead.
are most sidewalks in town the property owner's
Yes.
responsibility?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, they are.
So, and I get where everybody's coming from. I don't have one problem with, putting the rock underneath there. My concern was, we've had some time. I guess I don't know how it kind of got missed before the bids went out, or somebody didn't see it, you didn't get to see it. I don't know what happened. If it'd been bid that way, not a problem. $25,000 extra. With it coming up, it's almost like maybe we could do more sidewalks with that 25,000. If we didn't do it. But again, I totally see where you're coming from on,
But if we would have put it in there to begin with, the bids would have come in $25,000.
right, and I know that we would have known that right away. I don't know if it's here or there, but it's like, I don't know. I know we went with conventional wisdom to begin with. This is how it's usually done. And I understand that. That's generally what you do, is like, this is kind of the way it's done. Yeah. So I don't know. That's just my 2 cents.
Jim, what does John Scott do when he does come?
What's the rock under?
That's what I thought. It's gonna last a lot longer.
And
Yes,
that's
it would. I'm not arguing that.
that's the homeowner paying that, right? When he does it?
Yep.
Okay, so it's the homeowner
We-
paying that.
Mike,
Yeah, go ahead.
when we tear out street panels, whatever, we do any replacement, there's 6 inches of rock in there and anything you put back.
I'm sure 6 inches of rock into my sidewalk when they took it out.
I'm having a hard time wrapping my mind around this because it got missed. It's unfortunate, like you said, there's nothing we can do, but we were already over budget on this to begin with. To add another 25 on top of that, I don't know where that money's gonna come from. I mean, we've got trees that need taken down, we've got wages we need to increase. I mean, and Forrest is telling us that this is what they do in other cities that he is working with, that he's saying it will be okay. So why, for me, I mean, I don't see spending the extra money at this point. I mean, maybe if it was up front and we knew it at
Yeah,
the
that's
state-
exactly.
at the get-go,
Half of
but I
that
don't
is
know.
just equipment, because half of that's pretty much just material, because the rock is cheap.
Yeah.
It's the excavation, it's the skid loader work, it's the machinery is what eats up most of it.
But how are the panels at the new housing, Jim?
Shit. The streets. I've got 42 broken panels between phase 1 and phase 2 that eventually will have to be replaced.
I mean, that's my point is that
But that's streets, right?
Respectively,
That's streets.
That's streets. How about sidewalks?
Sidewalks are not my concern because we don't own them.
Okay,
respectively,
so,
I think these answers need to come from Jim, only because you own a very large portion of the sidewalk.
Oh, sorry.
No, I'm just saying, I think to be fair, we need to just talk with Jim on this.
I couldn't agree with you anymore. Where's the 25,000 coming from? That was gonna be my last question. To
So what's
agree
the
with
money?
what-
Here's the guy with the answers.
I was just kind of like,
who do we look at?
I don't know what-
Like a triangle here.
No,
Win-win.
we started with contingency and we went through the contingency to prove to everybody that we're done, so I agree with Christina. We have other issues to worry about.
Exactly.
So, and I agree with Jim too. It's kind of,
I mean, we're stuck in between a rock and a hard
yeah.
place.
So it's
Well,
hard decision.
Yeah, it's up to us to be fiscally responsible. If we'd known it, it would have been in there to begin with, We rely on people like Forrest and Jim to work together, and they have over the years and stuff. This one got missed. We bid it based on what Forrest had in there. We got the bids back, we accepted them. I can't agree with you more.
I mean,
$70,000 for
and we were
trees?
over budget a little bit on it anyways, and we
Yes.
don't have a contingency where maybe in other projects we would have had a contingency, we could just say,
Right.
you know,
No, I agree.
I mean, I don't know.
So what's the motion?
The motion. Decline or proceed?
And these get turned over to the homeowner, right, Jim?
They will be the property of the homeowner, that is
That-
correct.
That's, it could be their problem when it breaks up.
So move to decline, move to proceed. Which one?
You have no, I mean, Chip, you don't have any, 25 grand.
Is it in your pocket? You can just,
Absolutely not.
just,
2 days worth of work, right?
So you know, there, you could fund it from a combination of funds, and Jim's not gonna probably like this. General fund
Yeah.
could fund the majority of it. And that money is there, so it's a matter of prioritization.
It's
Right.
exactly all of the above, you know, kind of, it's like which way we go, as Christina mentioned and Mike too, that we have a street to wages to what about, we, I would love to see it
As
go
long
somewhere
as
else.
it's not your sidewalk.
If we didn't have the trees and stuff.
But the
over it now,
sidewalk, he said it's not in a bad condition, it's good, he designed it this way.
you know, that's a very good point. If we didn't have these trees
Yeah.
hanging over our head, You
It'd
know?
be a no-brainer,
it would be.
you know?
So I don't know, it's very, I agree with everybody, it's just
Yeah,
a matter
me
of
too.
who's setting a policy to
Yeah.
kind of, wherever we go, it's not gonna make everybody happy, so we might as well just
So we might as
decide
well just
on
budget
Yeah.
it, yep.
I appreciate your candor, you know, and I think, you know, you kind of know a little bit more about the finances, so I would move that we stay with the original.
I want to hear what Jim says.
All I'm gonna say is just keep in mind in future projects, that's the way it should be done.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes,
that's, I
duly
appreciate
noted.
it, yeah. So,
Corey,
So I've got something to say. Yes, I do.
because you're gonna own a lot of that
Well,
sidewalk.
I will own
A
most
big
of that, or a
section.
lot of it. When this sidewalk goes to shit in about 3 or 4 years because there's no rock under it, it's on the property owner to fix it. Property owner says, no, I'm not fixing it. That's a safe route to school sidewalk. Now you don't have a safe route.
I got another question for us. If the council decides not to do this 25,000, can a property owner pay the extra expense, like where my daughter lives, to get that done right? So they have a decent sidewalk.
I'm assuming that can be worked out.
Okay, because they're gonna have a big section, just like Corey.
Well, they're gonna have a driveway in there too.
Yeah,
Yeah, they're a driveway.
yeah, they got 2 driveways they're gonna do. It's up to council.
Which in the driveway approaches, is it in, was it bid with steel? And just in the approaches or no,
It's 6-inch thick, non-reinforced.
non-reinforced? All right, we need a
I'm
motion
sticking
on
with
that.
my motion
what is it?
Go ahead, Mike.
to move forward with, the original. Yeah,
So
just-
decline the
Yeah,
changes.
just, yeah.
Decline the changes.
Okay, we got a motion by Cobal, second. Second by Morgan. How do you vote? Morgan? Cobal?
Yes.
Renslow?
Yes.
Dolly? Yes. Kirkpatrick? Yes. Okay, number 12.
And we did make that note that next time we will make sure that it's,
Yes.
We're putting granule underneath all the streets now in the Humboldt third edition. Sidewalks out there, and driveways are being built by the homeowner, not as part of the project. But yes,
but anything else for the city, we can make that note and make
If
sure.
it's a city project, right?
if it's a city
If it's a
project.
city project, if it's just me replacing something.
No, right. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Number 12. Downtown Pocket Park?
Okay, every year it is, I'm sure everybody's familiar with it. And we do agree, unless you change it.
I'll make that motion.
I'll say that.
How do you vote? Morgan,
Yeah.
Cobal,
Yes.
Winslow,
Yes.
Dolly,
Yes.
myself, Patrick, yes. Okay, number 13,
Look, you're finally up.
Carl Chevrolet / Carl.
I will speak.
Forrest, do you want to know? I'm just kidding. How's it going? Nikki Neal, Civil Design
Oh, your
Advantage.
flashlight's on.
Putting us in the spot.
Okay, so we have the site plan for, well, we came in for the first phase of the support parking lot, and now we're coming in with that second phase, if you can kind of remember back. So we are coming in with the second phase of the auction parking lot expansion. With that includes a 13,520 square foot, 1-story building. Access is coming from the south. We are providing one additional new access off of 8th Street. Pre-finished metal wall panels is the materials of the building, and I can kind of speak to that here a little bit later. Parking, current total on-site parking is 392 is what we proposed, with 290 of that is what is existing out there. Trash enclosure is provided to the east. So there's also a kind of a future, if you look at the site plan, there's a future connection potentially to the existing Carl's to the east. That right now we said is still future, not planned at this point. And that is where kind of that trash enclosure is going at this right now. So
How would that be a future if there's a pond?
it's already been planned for. The detention pond is north, that access drive.
Gotcha.
Yep, so that was designed with that first phase.
Okay.
So, so detention exactly existing on that east side. Sanitary and water is both pulled from Southwest 8th Street. We have a couple waiver requests put in. I assume did you guys receive that little kind of write-up for the waiver requests?
Mhm.
So there's 3 waiver requests. There is the building materials. There is the fence material and then the barbed wire. So building materials, we also have the architect here tonight who can always speak on it more if you have additional questions. Basically, we are just kind of providing that campus ceiling. So it's all metal panel. It's going to match the existing auction facility. The fencing is what was previously proposed and approved for the waiver. On that north side, we have that 6-foot-high black metal chain link fence with the privacy slats that are put into it. So that is proposed to expand and continue over to the east. That is on that north side as well. And then the barbed wire, I know, put in at a later time, same idea, continuing that barbed wire expansion.
And you've already been through the P and Z on this?
Correct, yep.
That's what I
We
thought.
were just at P&Z last week and we were at utility board last week and I guess technically tonight.
3 times.
Yeah.
So are you guys hooking into the existing fence to the west?
Correct, it's just an expansion of it.
So as they have, because last time they were in here and we approved them to have the hot wire.
Yeah,
Are you guys doing that as well?
that I know, that is for the auction.
Okay.
That is not for
That's not for
us.
Carl's, okay.
Correct.
I didn't know if you guys wanted to,
It would be nice to put that all together.
It's
gonna be the same deal, it'll be the same way all around.
I didn't know if that's what you guys were looking at so you didn't have to come back and say, hey, can we put up electric fence?
Manheim is the one that came and asked for all of that.
Okay. I didn't know if you guys would just follow suit.
They're going to do it, I mean, it would save them having to come and ask to do it, I guess, because they're gonna come to ask to continue it.
That's what I
So
figured.
Manheim would be back in here
Yeah,
asking
it
for
would
it
save them
around that.
having to.
But you can't approve it tonight.
Right,
Right,
exactly,
right.
right.
That's what I say, I don't know if we.
P&Z specifically asked about it.
Yep, they did ask about it at that point, we were not aware
Sure.
if there was.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not on here, so it's not,
Yeah.
but it's a good question to say, hey.
We need a motion to approve the
The waiver.
waiver.
Is it,
Have you seen this? Jim? No, I'm looking at Jim.
Yes.
Yeah,
I have no issue as long as they tie into existing sewer stuff that's already there.
She said she went through utilities and P and Z. I just wanted to make sure that she touched base with you too.
Just one motion for
Yes.
everything?
One motion for A.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Moved by Fowler,
Second,
second by Vince.
Okay, how do you vote? Morgan?
Yes.
Cobal?
Yes.
Renzo?
yes.
Dolly? Yes. Kirkpatrick? Yes. Okay, and B, site plan approval. So she just kind of went through that as well, so.
I'll make that motion.
Moved by
Second.
Vince. Moved by Vince. Seconded by
Morgan,
Morgan.
how do you vote? Morgan?
Yes.
Cobal?
Yes.
Renzo?
Yes.
Dolly? Yes. Myself, Kirkpatrick?
Thank
Yes.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Excuse me. 14, Hotel and Motel Tax Committee.
That's a recommendation we have every year. So there's a distribution of the hotel tax.
Do you know how much we got this year?
Yes, each year.
60.
That's
65.
That's all?
Every 3 months.
Every 3 months, yeah.
We usually approve these by paid in July.
So how do we distinguish what, because I've read the paper here, and it said that they approve one profitable business each time. So is there checks and balances on business get that every year? And so they don't receive that again?
Well, it's kind of.
That's kind of a gray area right there. is where
because
I'm trying
really, I always tell the council, you have the final call. You know, we just had a committee to recommend.
Right.
And then you guys have the
But
final
isn't it a
call.
committee of like 2 people?
I don't know who's on it.
Sure, Mark.
Jeff Marks and Jeff Schwartz.
Oh,
Yeah,
Yeah.
2 people.
So this is really, we've been doing that for years and years and years. But I always tell the council, you have the final call, you can approve recommendation, change the recommendation. It's just a committee to recommend.
And the Saint Center is kind of deceiving because half of that's going to pay off the debt, right? The loan.
I can't say that because we've given them 70,000.
It looks like the answer is no to that.
Could be. We used to give them
I don't know,
26,000. And then we,
It's TIF.
so.
Oh,
but
it
we
is TIF.
used
I
to-
remember that because they come back every year and we,
Yes.
yes,
Yeah.
I do remember that. Because it was the
So,
only way we could keep them in business.
yeah, now we're giving them 70,000 to be the loan for
For the loan.
the utility.
So does every business in Stuart know about this, that they could apply?
I suppose,
For this?
yeah, because that's kind of,
I never see it
Is
advertised,
it,
but
is it on our website? Is it on our
I see.
Matt, do you know, is that on our website?
Yes, it is. I think the form's outdated, but it does mention that there's.
So it's out there, it's not real prominent,
Yeah.
pushed or said, hey, you know about this,
Right.
which,
But if you ask, I'll tell you, everybody knows about it.
well,
Because he
Well,
really
like it's-
after it, you know.
So, but there's always been updated forms on the front desk. And people can come to City Hall and get an update.
Yeah, but not- Here's my thing again, it's not everybody is around during the day. So we need to make sure that this stuff is on our website. So that way we can do it that way.
Before we make a vote on this or go any further, let's take a 5-minute break, or a
All
restroom
right,
break.
thank you.
Second.
I didn't ask for that. Corey came up with that on his own.
How do you change the temperature in this room?
Are you hot?
You open the window.
Is everybody else warm?
I'm about
No, it is very warm.
think thermostat, I don't know.
Sarah,
Sarah.
Anybody else warm? No, it's very warm.
Yes.
Also not wearing a jacket.
Tim's got a suit on. They'll come back in the morning, be freezing.
No, I know.
Okay.
Believe me, I understand.
you said that you went down in the crawl space and there's just a pipe going down. Can't tell which direction it goes. It just goes straight down. So we're talking about Tibbetts septic tank. And so we know the septic tank is 10 to 15 feet or 10 to 15 yards east of the house, on the other side of the driveway, which leads me to believe it's probably yards. So that's 30 to 45 feet.
No way.
But John says there's no way for me to
I'm a little
find that
jealous.
without going out there with a probe and starting probing around and seeing, hopefully I get
Yeah.
something.
It's
And
changes.
because who knows?
Gotta be like, take yours.
Does it have to be-
I know.
Hey, well, maybe we can move that one up.
His thought was.
Which one?
Can we move 17 up to next as a favor to our financial guy, so he can get out of here?
Move it to 50.
He's a very important event he needs to be watching on television.
My nephew got called up to the major leagues today. He's pitching for the San Francisco Giants.
That means you're watching the Taylor Swift something.
I think it's
You are.
No, thank you.
My dad, who listens to mostly hard rock, and the oldies, said to me the other day, I was listening to a station for the Imagine Dragon, and all of a sudden this song popped up. I kind of liked it. And I looked who it was, and it was Miley Cyrus. And then he says another one popped up, and I kind of liked it, but it was Taylor Swift. And I said, oh my.
My kids are trying to convince me that I was a Swift. They said, there's no way.
I'm a jelly roller.
We go from the sidewalk.
I'm going to see him on August 25th in Omaha. Oh yeah, I'm excited. He's amazing. Do you know who that is? I'm so excited. I got to watch college.
Yeah, it is.
He's with Struggle, Ashley McBride.
So,
We're good. So I just have a couple more questions on this. It's just because I know, I'm not questioning anything. It's just, I don't know, so that's why I'm asking questions. So, who appoints people to this committee? I mean, is it only just two, or can there be more on there? Or-
Been those two for as long as I remember.
yeah, for a long time,
But maybe we opened it up to other people who may want to be.
I don't know. That's why I'm asking.
the council in the mayor.
Okay.
We got having about 20 years ago.
But I think there's more involvement in our town and more people who want to be involved, that it might.
We can
Sure.
advertise on the position to help out with the current
Yeah.
members. Is that what you would like?
Sure.
So, and we have that guideline that we passed.
The application thing?
Yeah, so.
We can advertise for people to help out on the utility.
Sure.
Yes.
And that's not what I was asking for. I was just asking
I'm
questions.
sure they will like that because it's coming down to two. I think we started, it was 4 or 5.
A handful anyway.
But yeah, people quit, people.
What do we do with the other 12A?
They always like to have a little bit money because they will get more money. Every 3 months we get more money. So they like to have it as a cushion. You know, sometimes something come up,
So,
they can use it.
so they get money every 3 months.
Every 3 months, yes.
So
So as fire and rescue, police, yes. The money comes from 50% for this committee, 25% for the police, 12.5 for fire, 12.5 for this.
Oh, okay.
It's been like that for a long, long time, I think, more than 2 years.
Do you know there's RPD programs
Complaining about
apply for any of that? Are they eligible to any of our PD programs? I mean, Katie's got her program, and
It has
we've
something
got the
to
dog, we've got the drone.
do- It has something to do with promoting the economic development.
Yeah.
Tourism, yeah, ones like, so it has something to do with that, yes, they apply. And I would say, I always, when anybody asks me, I tell them, apply, whether you get it or not.
Right.
Just apply.
Yep.
So-
And it talks about it on the website, the
Yes.
forum on what it's for. And,
Yes.
you know,
Could
what it's
potentially
about.
at some point we use some of that money for the HIP thing? Just, I mean, I know we're trying to hurry things along, but
Okay. So motion on this,
I'll make the motion to accept their recommendation.
motion by Dolly,
Second.
second by Cobble. How do you vote? Morgan?
Yes.
Cobble?
Yes.
Renzo?
Yes.
Dolly?
Yes.
Mayor, would it be all right if we moved number 17 next? Something just came up while we were halfway here.
Okay.
Okay, 17, Bumble Phase 3, housing Phase 4.
I think agenda item number A is the
Oh,
drinking
sorry.
water well, is that
Yep,
correct?
the well, yep, abandonment bids. Mhm.
So I apologize, I missed this, because the Tibbs property is on rural water, so I didn't think there was a well, and come to find out there is a well that's been abandoned a long time, but not abandoned properly on the north side of the house. So we found the well, we went out for quotes to abandon the well, and we first went to Macknich, as the contractor doing it. And they came back with a quote of $5,665 to abandon the well. We then went out to 3 other contractors, EcoSource for $4,000, Thorpe Water for $4,800, and Nathan Duncan for $7,500. So this, we're not having this as part of the contract. This is going to be a separate deal from Macknich, unless I guess you take Macknich's number, then we could incorporate it in the project. But so looking for council action to select a contractor.
Was this noted? Does this have to be, or was this noted on the groundwater hazard when we bought the property? It was.
Yes.
But you thought they abandoned properly?
Yeah.
When that was?
And I missed that, the well being there, because they
Oh.
were water and.
Okay, but it was there, you just missed it.
So at least we knew about it.
So this probably needs to happen ASAP.
Yes. Yeah. I'd like to take action on
All
this.
of these 4 companies,
Yes, we reached out. to
same thing.
companies
I
that
mean,
do
we're
this.
gonna get the same thing. It's not
Yes.
like, oh, this EcoSource, they do a horrible job.
They fill
Not
it
that
with,
we're aware of.
they fill it with rocks and.
Did we ask for recommendations from the
The
county?
sanitarian will be there when they do it, to make sure it's
Oh.
according to health regulations. We need that motion.
I think, I'll make the motion. There's no problem with Mackinac if I make the motion for the EcoSource.
Also,
James
Morgan, yep. How do you vote? Morgan?
Yes.
Cobble?
Yes.
Renzo?
yes.
Dolly? Yes. Myself, Kirkpatrick, yes.
Thank you very much.
And B, change order, number 1, Human Trail.
So, dollars, big dollars.
That's a big dollar.
So when we took bids in the project, we took in bids for the alternate, and the funds just were not there for doing the alternate work. And the ship looked at that as hard as we could, and we could just not do the whole subdivision. So we did look at the financing, and we can do a portion of it. We could do another 15 lots on Tiernan Trail. And in the packet in the change order, there's on the last page, you should have received maybe a map that looks like this. So that's what the work would be. Doing it all the way would have been doing the alternate bid. Legally, we can add another 20% to the project, and this represents another 20% of the project. And so this change order would be adding another 15 lots for roughly $800,000. Entirely up to the council whether you move forward with this or not. The contractor is out there working right now and doing the grading work. We base this additional work on a lot of unit prices that we received from the. So it's and like Chip said, it's been built into the financing, so we could fund this portion of it. It's just a matter of whether you want to take that on now or not.
Forrest, who's driving this ship? Who is behind this? Because why didn't we talk about this when we first bid on it? So why did we go back after we already bid or voted on it and come up with, yeah, it's doable for 800 and some thousand to add on to this. So who is driving? Who's the force behind this?
It's not me.
I get that. Maybe I should be asking Matt.
I don't know who brought it up.
Then how are we to this point?
Warren, you got a comment?
It was in your additional financing was available because the bidding went better than expected.
You're not answering my question. Who's driving?
Well,
Where'd it come from?
See?
I assume Chip came up with the number. And
Let's just say C.
No, this was,
Point of
first I
order.
knew about it.
Point
was
of
when it
order.
showed up in the
I'd like to
council packet.
make a point of order. I think we need to kind of temper ourselves. Let's
like
not-
tempers,
Well, let's not make accusations that we're gonna be trying to walk backwards, just walk through it and
I want my question
take
answered.
care. I understand that there's just maybe a little bit better way at.
Okay, let me rephrase it. Who is driving this? Why, all of a sudden, in front of us tonight, is there an $800,000 change order? Well, we could have discussed it at last month's meeting.
Well, no, that's not,
We could,
It
I
could
didn't have any information on how many lots or what kind of value or where we could go or anything.
And we voted on this when we didn't have all the information?
No, we didn't vote on it.
No, I get that we didn't vote on this, but we already voted on something else and it passed. And now we're coming back to it and saying, hey, there's an $800,000 change order. What?
It's just an option and there's no
I-
requirement that you do it.
My question.
I know, it's because I'm not sure that there was one person that called me up and said, put this together and look at it. It was,
From a dollars and cents standpoint, I can answer something that might help. If you look at it on a per lot cost, these 15 lots, the base bid 36 lots are expensive because you have a long connector road. So if we can accept that, these 15 lots are much cheaper and therefore drive more financial benefit for the city because they are less on a per lot cost. So the decision to award the change order, of course, is still in front of the council as your policy decision, but I can tell you from, that's a financial point on
So
the matter.
you crunched the numbers and said, hey, here, look, this is what we can do.
I didn't try the change order.
Right, everybody's telling me no, they're not involved in it,
So
but
what?
then how did it end up on our desk?
well, to make the option available to you.
So it's, you basically come and said, hey, here's our finding. This is not adding $800,000 to what we,
It was incorporated
It's
as
already
part of a
in there.
contingency amount.
and then we go, hey,
It
you
was
know,
also in the May 8th material.
So if that's our
For the council.
contingency money, what happens if the guys start digging, they run into bad dirt and everything else, and they need more money?
There is an additional 7% contingency in there as well. And this is probably, as a planning tool, this is from a budget standpoint. Because if you look at row 7, that includes contingency for the whole project of $340,000, or that's 7% of the construction bid. 7% of row 6. So you still have a good contingency in there. I think 5% is a reasonable contingency amount. You have in excess of that 5%. You've got 6.93, let's call it 7%.
So what you're saying is if we do these 15 additional lots, we potentially would drive in more money at a less cost.
Absolutely. It's
So
far
we're
more
paying less to
economical.
develop it, but we're gonna be getting a heck of a lot more because you're gonna
Much
have
more.
15 more houses at potentially 2 to 3, maybe even 400,000.
Why didn't we look at this one last month?
Well, he said it was on there, right?
It's in the May 8th material.
but I was basing it off of just being able to go to the 20% limit. I didn't know how far that would take us. I could not have answered, is it 15 lots, is it 10 lots? I didn't know that.
And you're saying the equipment's out there already. Basically, it could be cheaper to do it right now than come back later and do all the other ones.
Yeah, could be, but I mean, if council's not wanting to do it, there's no harm in
Yeah.
saying no to this and we just move on.
I'm all for the
They say
phase. I'm all for the phase. I really am. last month when I voted no, I just wanted more time to look things over. And maybe if we did have more time to look things over, we could have caught this. It seems like this is just a rush, and it's a railroad all the time. That's why I feel like my blood pressure is a little bit elevated. I apologize, but why didn't we talk about that last month when we made the decision and voting on that? And now a month later, here we are. You know, you guys are all proposing a different set of ideas.
I think,
So is next month going to be the same?
I think where they're coming from is we knew and correct me if I'm wrong, we knew we had the contingency. And we knew we could spend part of that contingency. It was just how much.
That's right.
And now that we do know how much, you have applied that to what we could get for that amount.
It's in hard dollar terms now from Mackinac. That's what's different now.
Am I understanding that right?
That is correct.
So because we didn't have any hard numbers last month, we couldn't have made the decision.
So
We just had a percentage. And so now that we actually have the numbers and we know what we can get for our money, this is what we're getting if we decide.
So what you're saying is now that Mackinac has started, they're giving us hard numbers on things now.
Oh, I
So
don't-
that kind of screwed up the whole bidding process, correct?
I don't think it's the hard numbers on the base.
It's not the hard numbers on the base. The base bid is still what it is. We can add up to 20% onto the base bid, and that's where that's 4 million times 20% is 800,000. If we want to do something less, if we want to do 400,000, we can do 7 lots, or if we don't want to do anything, we can scale it back
And that would,
to nothing.
and if we did everything, just so I understand, that 800,000 would just be part of our,
And
Okay.
it would pay off the project notes.
okay.
Yeah.
Right, later on.
Is there any other budget benefit in doing this, with infrastructure, or anything like that? With this, just the 15 lots? Is there something there that if we do this now is going to, as far as the infrastructure goes, whatever it might be,
Like later on, maybe.
water lines?
We picked that Tiernan Trail as the alternate, so because they were kind of the end of the utilities, so we cut them off, the sewer and the water, and everything is kind of continuing on. No, the short answer is no, we're not. With the stormwater and the sanitary and the water mains, they're just kind of being extended along that curved road halfway around.
Is it fair to say it's a time-sensitive question now?
But it
because
is
Mac-
time sensitive just because Mackinac is out there working.
And it's gotten a fair amount done already, so.
Yeah, so they want to know if they'll keep on moving with the dirt work if the city's interested.
And Chip, explain again, financially, you have that in the pack.
That's right, it's factored in, and you
Factored in.
additionally have another 340,000 of 7% contingency remaining after this is factored in.
But we could take, if we didn't move on it, we could take that and help pay off what we have going on.
That's true.
But we also would get, if we
Less
did it, we get less revenue if we do that. But this way we get more revenue because you're getting 15 more houses
That's right.
at a base. So let's just say the lots on the road take 200, these aren't real numbers, but 200. And you're getting the same house for this lot that you're putting 100 into. So you're getting more money, right, back
That's right.
for less cost.
The price per lot for these 15 lots is about half of the 36 lots
There
in
you
the base. That's what it really is more economical.
And Chip, the interest rate, it has went up, but nothing like it was 15, 20 years ago.
That's right, that's right.
It's still cheap.
It
It
is
is
still
unreasonably low.
That's correct. That's right.
But what is going up is the housing market, interest rate. So are we gonna get people to come in?
It has, if you look at, just anybody can Google a 30-year mortgage rate, what it's based on the 10-year US Treasury, that's come down versus what it was like in the fall of 2022. It's higher than what it was 3 years ago, no doubt, but it certainly has come down, and I think maybe that's why you've seen some of phase 3 All Saints continue to sell. So
What's the total housing that would come to with this lot?
36 plus 15, 51.
51, and then we have, what, 13,
Oh,
how many to go? And when were we gonna look at the last part, if, depending on, or is that all contingent on how these build out?
the last part of
Turning trail.
alternate.
This
Oh,
here,
that's in the future. I have no idea when you'll look at that.
I think that depends on how things go with.
I imagine it's a number of years.
I guess I drive around Grimes and Adele, places like that. Looks like there's no stopping building, just developments everywhere. So I don't think the interest rate's stopping people at all.
I don't think, and we've got more coming in. I mean, Carl's bringing more people in, and I mean,
Quick stars coming.
Quick Star's coming. I think our town is just going, and we're getting more people. But
It's an opportunity to get more for what we had for less.
That's
What we
right.
thought we were gonna spend more on for less, we're getting more for the same amount, basically.
Sure.
With the opportunity to realize more back from that.
That's
Than
right.
just having them sit there.
Very true.
You know. So,
I just wish we would have known
Yeah.
on this last bump.
I don't know if
Anybody-
there's
I mean,
any way- no,
can I make a motion to go ahead and approve it?
I'll second it.
Moved by Winslow, second by Cobal. How do you vote? Morgan?
How time sensitive is this?
We couldn't wait another month. If you wanted to have a special council meeting in a week, we could sure do that, but we can't wait till, your July council meeting.
We can't wait till the
We
July.
cannot wait till the July council meeting. We have a special meeting. We could wait till July, but the price may change because Matt will say, well, we're done grading and now you're bringing all the equipment back kind of thing, or remobilize kind of thing.
I'm gonna say no.
Cobal?
Yes.
Winslow?
Yes.
Dolly?
And you recommend this, Chip?
I do from a pure financial standpoint, absolutely.
Yes. Kirkpatrick? Wish I would have had this last one. I'm a no.
Thanks, Forrest.
Thanks,
Thank
Forrest.
you.
Forrest and Chip.
Okay, back to 15.
Thanks, Tom.
Enjoy your night.
Thank you.
I've got my that was sent to you that you want specific questions over, that need to be addressed first.
Do we know where we're at with this removal?
The testing has been performed and just sent a form over to fire chief. We're trying to get this going for the first, trying to get the burn scheduled. The contractor for the asbestos removal sent in a proposal of $42.50, and the mayor signed the form for me today. His form.
But when are they gonna remove it? Like, that's the part that I was asking, is when are they, I mean, are they thinking 2 weeks, weeks?
He's got to give the DNR 10 days, so. It's a process, which is,
So we're looking at possibly 2 weeks to have the
Yes.
asbestos removed?
yes,
So once he gets through the DNR, he or she, I'm sorry, I don't know who it is, but once the person gets through the DNR 10 days, how long does it take? Are they thinking it's gonna, I mean, do they have room in their schedule to get out here and get it done?
he was vague on it,
And he knows that it's time sensitive?
yes. So, that's price, very good
No,
price.
I was just curious on a
So-
timeline about getting this,
Uh,
getting it done.
Yes. working with the fire chief, hoping to get this form signed, get this off to the contractor, and get the DNR notified on both sides of it. And the goal is to be burning by July 1st.
Okay.
So, I just want to go on and say that, as you know, Mechanician has already started clearing the land. Hotel Stuart, Matt House has submitted $468,000 in invoices. He has gone through and requested the first 60% of the grant from the Community Catalyst Grant. TIF application has been approved by Seed, Group Seed.
By us too, or just the,
I've had a couple council members take a review of that.
So is that gonna come before us? Does it need to?
If we bring it next month to be referred to the bond attorney for urban agreement. Yeah.
Well, no. I
No,
think
just a basic
Just the
application.
application, like, it was a change in, some definition, maybe a definition or, requirements. It was requirements.
Oh, you mean the application that he gave?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he did a minor modification to it, and it was reviewed by council members. And
But does it need full council approval or?
if you want to, we can.
well, I think it would be fair for
Sure,
everybody to see it.
yeah, we can put it on the agenda next
Okay.
week. That's
Yes,
fine.
okay. Thanks, Matt.
All right, and then attended the Element or Dev 2023 conference, May 18th. I took notes through the conference. They had a recipe for housing success, and I'm sure you can see all that. That's just in the report. The big thing I got out of the conference, the most important thing that I think was a big benefit, they went over a lot of other things that the city's already working on, but they had a site readiness certification. Something that the city of Stuart has not done anything with. So the state, as you had mentioned earlier, we have businesses coming to Stuart and businesses coming to the state of Iowa. But a lot of that's helping Iowa is the site readiness certification. And that's a program that's done with the Iowa Economic Development Authority. And right now the preliminary cost to get a site certified, as an example, maybe possibly the railroad spur, maybe around $50,000. Requires testing, ground testing, requires quite a bit of engineering work. So something to think about. As you know, the city of Bondurant.
Can we get more information, like just how we prepare, if that's something we wanted to do, what the steps are, what it all entails? Because I remember when she came and talked to us, she talked about it, and they have had great success.
Yeah, because everything's just basically ready and you're.
Yes. Well, one of the benefits that we have to that is that the city of Bondurant utilizes the engineering firm, Meenstra and Kim.
Oh.
So we've already got a resource that's very familiar with that process, which we probably really should take advantage of.
Is that how they got, was it Amazon?
The Amazon.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yes.
I mean, and all those businesses are coming out closer to us. I mean, Dallas County, it's just a matter of time before we could get some of those bigger.
And we have such great potential being right here on the, I mean,
Yeah, interstate, railroad, all of it.
right there.
Also, the governor spoke at this conference. One of the things I was able to take away from her when she was speaking is, I might have my numbers a little off, but I believe that she had said that the state of Iowa population has increased 6%, while some other states around us have decreased. The state of Iowa has a strong goal of bringing businesses to state and pulling people from other states to in the state of Iowa. So with that comes a big demand for housing. So just wanted to kind of put that out there, that housing in the state of Iowa, Stuart's in a very good position to provide a lot of that housing. So the people are coming, and we take advantage of that as well. So, anything else?
Is there you got any update on like contractors, how many lots and stuff, what, from the last time you gave us anything? Anything changing out there?
Well, as you know, around the fall time, we had all but 4 of the lots spoken for. And then the interest rates increased. So we had a couple builders that wanted to hold off until springtime. So we're back up to when we were 8 lots available. We got Elevate Homes. They're a new Stuart builder. They're an established builder, and they have taken an interest in Stuart as well. So they're going to be moving in on 1 lot, building a relationship with one of the local banks.
So we got a new builder.
So yes,
starting out.
They are, with conversations with them, actually it's Jim Farron. He has, he probably calls me every couple of days asking for an update on what I can do on my end of things, and letting me know what he's doing, what he's working on. He's been pretty ambitious about it. He really sees what Stuart has, and he likes what Stuart's offering. He's taken a real strong interest in Stuart. And so he initially wanted to get 4 homes. The banks that he has tried to stay loyal with, from what he was kind of let out, I don't know how accurate it is, but since there was that bank failure in California, that's what he's running into, is that the banks that he's been loyal to were kind of pulled back a little bit, but he's started a relationship with First State Bank out here. So it might be even better for this city of Stuart. We've got a local bank that's being utilized.
Yeah.
They're working on their relationship and potentially getting a few more homes. So he's still interested in 4 lots, but they're going to get their first build out of the way.
Okay, good.
One other thing, Matt, before you go here. So on our previous discussion here is maybe next time, and I know this is part of your job as well, but maybe next time, don't give us a sticker shock of a change order of 800,000. I think the delivery could have been a little bit better on that, because in reality, it wasn't a change order for 800,000. And like I said, this is part of your job too, to make sure that you provide us with the information and everything. I think the sticker shock was a lot. So I think maybe the delivery next time could have just explained a little bit better, because when I see $804,000 for a change order, I'm thinking that it's almost $1 million where we got to pony up.
Mhm.
Can you see where I'm coming from?
Yes.
Thanks, man.
Okay. Thank you.
Good job, man.
Thanks, Matt.
Thank you.
Okay, 16.
You have something, Ash?
Okay, yeah, we have something in the packet, as you see, there's a lot of emails back and forth, and it's all going in one direction. So I had to refer this to the city attorney to kind of look at it from the that maybe we'll be in need of different response to the individual that we put him on the agenda, trying to see what he wants, and we're not getting any response here. So I just want the council to know that it's referred to the city attorney.
To criticize the council.
Any
I
other,
appreciate that.
any other correspondence from them, we could just refer this to the city attorney. I mean,
Yes,
I don't think it's fair to Matt to be
that's why
backboard of this, that he can just, if he gets an email, he can just send it to you or send it straight to the attorney.
Yeah. At this point, it will be forwarded to the city attorney.
And just and I'm not taking sides here, but I'm just trying to be fair, but if a citizen comes up, I mean, we're voted people up here.
Yes.
We need to take everybody serious. If a citizen or somebody in our community has an issue, I think it's fair to listen to them or not just send them to the attorney.
That's why I
My
put
only
on the
issue
agenda. I
is
just
that
wanna hear from them.
he's
Sure.
had, I mean, this individual has had plenty of opportunity to bring this.
I won't disagree.
So I just think in this particular case, I mean, it's just like for the gentleman downtown, I mean, I think it only gets referred when it gets to a point where it's just too far.
And
But-
this is where I'm at. I respect
Yeah,
everything you said, and I waited until to see if he's here to talk. Because I want him to have the opportunity.
Sure, absolutely.
And that's why I'm kind of like, what else can we do?
But I'm glad you took the initiative to send that off, because when I saw that, it's like,
Yeah.
I really don't want to be saying anything.
That's okay. That's
No,
what
I
I'm
totally
saying.
agree. Okay,
Public forum.
public forum. Anybody have anything?
Everybody left.
I got-
Sir?
I'm Alex Foley with Region
Can you
12.
come up microphone?
Sorry about that.
What's your name?
Alex Foley with Region 12 Council of Governments.
Yes.
Just a quick public hearing for the CDPG water improvement project.
Yes.
All I ask is that a public hearing be opened. And I
We
can-
did the public hearing early. You just.
He's
you
the one that
can't-
brought you the money though, he's like.
Yes.
Well, we thank you.
We did hold the public hearing.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, we did.
We would have recognized you if we knew you were.
Yeah, that was number 4.
I was under the impression we started at 6:30. I'm sorry.
oh, that's okay.
Okay.
We changed it to
That's
6. Yeah.
Okay,
Sorry
You
about
came
that.
after, but we did hold the public hearing as you requested, and everything is cool.
everything's good.
No opposition,
Yeah.
nothing.
Unless you have something else to talk about.
Should raise your hand.
No.
I got an hour drive to go home.
Oh,
Yeah.
shoot. You're even so
Sorry.
there.
I thought you guys come back to me, so that's okay.
You're
So
good.
sorry about that.
Okay, good. We did take care of it.
I'll make sure my office knows it's 6 o'clock.
Yeah, we
Yeah,
just
sure.
changed
We
it last
just
month.
changed.
Just change
Yes,
it? Okay.
so it will take a while.
Our apologies.
That's okay. If I could just get a signed copy, scan email's fine.
Yeah, sure. Yeah,
Okay, great.
we'll do that. We'll
Thank
do
you very much.
All right.
Thanks, Adam. Thank you.
Anybody else?
I got a couple things. It was in the electric bills that all dog license are supposed to be done through the city. I think we've only got 10% of the dogs in town that are probably licensed. I got a call from Mason Hasty at the Claver complex. There's feces all over out there. And I told our police officers, start ticketing people if dogs are not on a leash. I've confronted other people, well, my dog's really trained. I said, no, it's gotta be on a leash out there. They're using that as a dog park. They're closing the gates and the dogs can't get out. It's a huge problem with the big baseball game coming in next weekend. And then just on a note, I talked to Jim and Mike Johnson. They said there's supposed to be a plan to start resetting the stones. I was kind of wanting to know when that's gonna start happening, because there's a lot of stones tipped
Well,
over.
I think
There's
Jim's
no
been a little
Yeah.
preoccupied with everything else right
Yeah,
now.
I know,
You work together really good, by the way. Jim.
but I know a lot of
We're
towns,
working together very good, Jim and Mike.
yeah,
Okay.
on all these issues.
Good.
but a lot of towns set out $2,500 every year to start setting the stones up.
We're paying for the quick read for Mike Johnson, right?
Yes,
Yeah,
whatever.
because I think at one time he was paying for that himself, wasn't he?
Yeah,
I
he said,
thought so.
he said he'd
Yeah.
help start setting them up if we'd pay for the concrete.
Yeah,
Can we just
Okay.
maybe make a phone call and just check and see if what his availability is first, and then we can go from there, Mike Johnson's availability.
yeah. Maybe the store committee can help out on that as well.
Yeah.
Warren?
We're gonna make this meeting last a little bit longer because
Perfect, yes.
you deserve. I just want to talk about the role of the various members of city government here. I've been to a lot of meetings, and some are well-run, and some are not well-run. And I'm sorry to say the city council is closer to the not well-run meetings, and this should be taken personal by anybody here. I've criticized mayors from Cheryl Marks and Dave Fry on, and everybody has their own style, and we can live with that. But I'd like to make a few suggestions. One is when we have agenda items, the agenda is within the discretion of the mayor. Council can override him. You can always override the decision of the chair. The council decides, or the mayor decides the. And when we have people from out of town, like the people from Carl Chevrolet, or people who have to travel, like Forrest and Chip, I would sure like it if it were at all possible. I know everybody's important here. You know, you work for the citizens of Stuart, and I appreciate the consideration you give to us as citizens of Stuart. But I would suggest you try to front load those things to the beginning of the meeting. The other thing you could do is the city council is supposed to function. Analogies are dangerous, so I say this with trepidation, but the city council function. Their function is to set policy. Today, people carry out that policy. And the structure of a city is that the mayor is the chief executive officer. He's the president. He's supposed to be setting the day-to-day direction of the operation of the city. We've got a city administrator who's officially the city clerk. And he's supposed to be the chief of operations, the chief operating officer, and then the department heads report to him. And I think there's a real temptation because, you know, in very small towns, like a city attorney for Menlo and Casey, the city council very much functions like a committee of the whole. They just sit around and they decide everything because everybody's part-time and they're just not very many hats to go around, but Stuart's getting to the size where you really can't afford to do that. And a symptom of that is when we have agenda items that run for a half hour or more. You know, in an efficiently run meeting, everybody who needs to make a decision should have that they need to make that decision ahead of the city council meeting. And Corey brings up an excellent point. You know, I said earlier, I didn't know about this change order thing until I saw it in the packet. Well, I saw what was in the packet, but I saw it several days before. I assume you're getting everything all at once, 4 days before the city council
Not
meeting.
even
No,
four.
Not even
Saturday night
Saturday.
too.
So,
Yeah.
so that's a problem. And we have a very good city staff here. They can be getting, included, who includes Matt. I don't remember what day I got that change order, but it was before Saturday night. And there's no reason that couldn't have gone out to the council. You know, you need that information. It needs to be public hours ahead of time. That's open meetings law. But you can be getting well in advance. That way, if you have questions for Jim Henderson, you can ask them that ahead of time and not, you know, having to educate yourself during the meeting. You know, now there are some things that you want everybody to hear, and you're not, you know, it would also be a violation of open meetings law for three of you to sit and figure out ahead of time what you're going to do. That's strictly verboten. But another symptom of what I think could be done better, I think we're really blessed. We have a very active city council. We have active volunteers. We have great attendance at city council meetings. You're a very open city. You know, the Monterey City Administrator was really impressed with our website and how much information that we get out to the citizens of the people. And that's why I get my back up a little when somebody suggests that the city council is doing things behind people's back, because that is not the case. We've been, I think we do a good job of getting that information. We can always do better, but we do a good job of getting that information out there. The other thing to is, as a city council, as a council person, you only have authority as members of the council. So when Mike or Christine get frustrated, say, well, I asked about this 2 months ago. Well, I can ask the city clerk or Sarah or Matt to do something too. But if you just say, I would like this done, you don't have any more authority than any other citizen of Stuart or any other business, any other taxpayer in Stuart. It only means something if there's a motion. So if you want Ash or the mayor or Sarah or Nat to do something, you need to make a motion, and a majority has to say aye, they're compelled to do. Just saying, well, I'd like you to do this next week. You can say that, but it really has no more effect than me sitting in the bleachers here saying, well, I'd like Sarah to do my bidding too. So I just want to make that clear that if you really want something done, make a motion, get somebody to second it, and get 3 people to back you up. I could talk all night about meetings. I'll just say one more thing. You should be required to attend Toastmasters. There are a lot of learn how to be an effective speaker or how to run effective meetings. This is an excellent way. We're always welcoming guests. We meet twice a month. And, I would welcome any of you to attend our meetings. We meet at both noon and 5 o'clock, so there's lots of opportunities. Thank you for your time, your patience, and your service.
Thank you.
Anything else?
Thanks, everybody. Thanks, everybody.